Our story begins with Will Salas, a common factory worker who makes time wallets to make ends meet. In this world, a human can live forever, given they have enough time. Once you turn 25 years old, you stop aging and a timer on your wrist begins to count down. Once you hit 0, you die. Time is literally money for the poor, as they have to work hard to survive while the rich keep getting richer through artificial inflation. Will lives at home with his mother Rachel. Today is her 50th birthday, even though she looks like she is the same age as Will. I don't know how to feel about this. Rachel says that she only has 3 days left, and reminds Will of all the bills they still need to pay. She is going out of town for a couple of days to take care of a loan, and he lets her know that he will take care of it. Will goes to work with his good friend Borel. They work hard. Will finishes his work for the day and notices that his payment is less than usual. The distributor says that he need not meet the quota that increased yesterday.
Next.
That's a joke, right?
Next.
What a dick. After work, Will goes to a bar that is full of young and beautiful women. Borel is also at the bar, and he points out a man who has 100 years saved on his wrist and has been buying drinks for everyone all night. Will notices someone else also looking at the man and goes up to him. He warns the man that he should be careful because bad people come around the bar. At that same moment, the minute men show up and everyone runs away.
Minutemen, walk away, Will.
Will insists on watching. The group leader, Fortis, tells the man that he wants his time and says that they can fight for it. The man, now discovered to be named Henry, agrees, but first drunkenly stumbles into the bathroom to vomit and a Minuteman keeps watch. Will knocks the Minuteman out and sneakily exits with Henry. They book it through the streets as Fortis and his men chase behind. They barely escape into an abandoned building. Now that they are stuck together, Will and Henry get to know each other. Henry tells Will that he is 105 years old. He is tired and desires death. This makes Will angry, as he has always lived minute by minute with his mother. Henry tells Will how corrupt the system is, and how the prices keep rising because the wealthy want to stay alive, despite there being enough time for everyone to live forever. Henry asks Will what he would do if he had the same time as him.
If I had all that time, I sure as hell wouldn't waste it.
Me neither. The next day, Will wakes and discovers he has over a century on his wrist. Before Will woke, Henry gave all but 5 minutes and went to the bridge to time out. Will sees this and runs back home to find Borel. He tells him everything that happened and gives him 10 years for being his friend, then goes to meet his mom, who should be very low on time. Rachel is at the bus stop and tries to get on, but is told no when it is revealed that the price has been up to 2 hours. She only has 1.5 left. Nobody helps her out and the bus driver starts running. She runs and runs as fast as she can. Time is running out. Every second matters as death closes in. Will, who has been waiting at the bus stop, sees that his mom did not exit the bus and starts running to find her. She turns the corner and the two of them see each other. They get close, but time beats them. Will cries, knowing they were seconds away from the life they've always wanted. We go to the next day, where timekeepers find Henry's body in the river. Raymond, the head timekeeper, and Jaeger, the apprentice, investigate the scene. As they are about to leave, Raymond notices a camera at the top of the bridge. Back in the city, Will orders a taxi to take him to New Greenwich, the land of the rich. They have borders that separate ordinates using a toll that increases with each one. This time his currency thing is getting really confusing. He finally gets through the final toll, which costs him a year. Welcome to New Greenwich. He looks around at the roads and architecture and notices how different it is from home. His car arrives, and Will begins running, only to realize that he no longer is in a race for time and can act more like the people around him. He goes to a nearby hotel and asks for a suite for the night. He wakes up in the morning, still with 105 years left. Life is good. He tries to enjoy the life he has been gifted with by eating gourmet food and drinks, getting new clothes, and even going to the casino to gamble. While Will is busy spending his time, Jaeger and the timekeepers investigate Henry's death at the bridge. Raymond says that he knows Will's father. Will is now in the casino at a poker table where he sits with some very wealthy gentlemen. Across from him is Philippe Weiss, the owner of Time Banks, who has billions of years. Philippe teases Will by talking about the large gap between the rich and poor, and bets 50 years. Will calls. Philippe continues to explain how life has always been unfair to those who are weak, and he raises 2 centuries, putting Will in an all-in situation. Will calls, leaving himself with only 30 seconds. Will wins and Philippe smirks, as this brings excitement to his dull life. Philippe notices Will looking at Sylvia and asks if he thinks she's his grandmother, mother, or wife. Will simply says that she's beautiful. Philippe introduces her as his daughter and invites Will to their party. The next day, Will arrives at the party and finds his place among the other rich people. Sylvia finds him standing alone, and they get to know each other. Their conversation leads them to dance. She asks him if he came from the ghetto, which he deflects, and opens up about how life is meaningless and how the time she is holds her back. They make their way to the beach, and end up going into the water. The green glowing is a cool touch. Before things get too crazy, Sylvia's name is called and they return to the house. Philippe asks Will if he would like to play some poker when all of a sudden Raymond and the timekeepers bust in. They take Will to a room in the house where he gets questioned. Raymond asks Will what he is doing in New Greenwich and how he now has over a millennium's worth of time. Will tells the truth about Henry's gift, but they do not believe him. Raymond arrests Will and confiscates all of his time. As he leaves, Will asks him why he is investigating a suicide when real murders are happening. Raymond responds that that he sounds like his father. This angers Will as he frees himself and rushes to the main room to take Sylvia hostage. The two of them scurry through the house and take off in his car. Raymond and the timekeepers begin the chase. Will, having godly instincts, manages to drive and reverse evading death yet again. Will asks Sylvia for time, but she refuses. Morning comes, and a tired Will accidentally drives over highway spikes. The car goes flying and they are unconscious. To make matters worse, the Minutemen from earlier arrive and steal all of Sylvia's time but 30 minutes. They wake up and Sylvia panics. Will gives her a few minutes and they run, now needing to get more. With 3 minutes to spare, Will arrives at his best friend Borel's door and is greeted by his wife, Greta. She informs Will that Borel died from alcohol poisoning and blames him for his death. Out of luck, Will notices Sylvia's earrings, so they desperately pawn them off for a crappy amount.
You can take the 48 hours so you can be a pretty corpse.
They hear the sirens from the timekeeper's car and hide. Will calls Raymond and asks for Philippe to transfer 1,000 years to the ghetto city in exchange for Sylvia. Raymond warns Will that if he continues on this path, he will end up dead like his father. Now waiting, Sylvia is getting bothered as her father still has not sent the time for her. Will gives her a gun for protection and she uses the phone to try and persuade him. At that moment, Raymond appears and Sylvia shoots him. Will takes time from Raymond and the duo leaves in his car. To lose their trail, they jack someone else's car and take off. Later they are watching the news about themselves and Will lets her know that she can still go back to her father, but Sylvia responds that she doesn't want to go back to her boring life. She leans in for a kiss and they do way more than that. Lol. Sylvia and Will talk about his plan to give time to the people, and she says she can help. They plan and stage a heist as they crash into the time bank with a truck, encouraging people to take the time that they want. There is now a bounty on the duo for a hefty price of 10 years. Fortis catches this and the Minutemen begin their hunt. Meanwhile, Philippe watches the news about his daughter's continuous crimes of stealing from him. Later that night, Raymond and the timekeepers surround the hotel that Will and Sylvia are staying in. However, they realize this and sneakily jump out of the window to escape. They are chased yet again through alleyways, streets, and even rooftops, and bullets fly. They manage to get on a bus, losing Raymond. Finally, they find some peace at a new motel. They talk about the struggles they are about to face because if they get caught they will die. Sylvia says that in the short time she has spent with Will, she has never felt more alive. With their luck, Fortis and the Minutemen break into their room. Feeling generous, Fortis offers Will a chance to play for his life and Will accepts. They both roll up their sleeves and begin to arm wrestle. Will struggles and almost loses, but in his last seconds, turns it around when Fortis loses focus. Will pulls a gun from his leg simultaneously and shoots the men while tapping out Fortis. What a badass. Will and Sylvia make their way to the roof and see how the prices keep rising. Will says that the rich will keep on raising the prices just to get what they want and says that only 1,000,000 years can break the system. Sylvia agrees. The next day, Philippe enters his building surrounded by his bodyguards. Sylvia appears and her father takes notice, only for a disguised Will to hold him at gunpoint. The guards stand down and the three of them go to his private time vault. The vault holds a single wallet containing 1,000,000 years. Philippe explains that society would completely collapse if this time fell into the wrong hands. He says that someone craving immortality would not be shy to sacrifice the lives of others.
For a few to be immortal, many must die.
Will gets mad and holds the gun to his head.
No one should be immortal if even one person has to die.
The two of them leave. Meanwhile, police begin blocking off the main road. Sylvia and Will miraculously get through unharmed while being bombarded with bullets. Only Raymond doesn't give up and chases after them. They arrive in the ghetto, where they are seen as heroes. Raymond tries to end them here, but the civilians block him off to protect their saviors. Will exists and passes the wallet to a young girl with the instructions to distribute the 1,000,000 years. Will and Sylvia run, and Raymond steals a car to catch up. Finally, Raymond has them at gunpoint. Raymond tells them how he was also from the ghetto and learned to escape poverty. He admits the hard truth of the gap between the rich and poor but says that it has to be maintained. All this talking was for nothing as Raymond looks down at his wrist and realizes that time is out. Goodbye, Raymond. Will and Sylvia, also with a few seconds remaining, scramble to Raymond's car to get some time. Will goes solo because he's faster and gets his time. He now begins running back to Sylvia who has a few seconds remaining. Tension builds as this reminds Will of his mother. Luckily, he reaches her in time and they embrace. Time is distributed among the poor and people begin traveling freely. The system is broken. I give this movie a 79%. Great concept but a bit corny if you ask me. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos like this.